Welcome to this tactical analysis of the World Cup final, Argentina versus France. We're going to have a look at Argentina's left-hand side bias, their counter-attack, as well as briefly touch on their defensive shape. And for France, we're going to have a look at how they built up before and after the substitution. So starting here in the 12th minute with a long goal kick towards Giroud and Griezmann, this being against Argentina in a 4-3-3 shape. Here I just want to briefly touch on how De Paul and McAllister were looking to try and defend the spaces between the fullbacks and centre-backs for Argentina. This being because Dembele and Mbappe were helped by the positioning of Griezmann and Rabiot, who would push out into those wide areas. And on Mbappe's side, Hernandez would also push up, and occasionally Koundé would push up. This was also France's shape, typically with what was a 4-2, which would then move to more of a 3-2 or a 3-1, with Tchouaméni as the holding midfielder, Rabiot pushing higher up on that left-hand side, as well as also Hernandez. Griezmann and Giroud aren't able to keep the ball from the long goal kick and attempt to counter press, but the Argentina midfield is able to get their foot on the ball and start to play. France are able to force Argentina all the way back to their goalkeeper, at which point France will play 4-2-3-1 or 4-4-2 press, with Griezmann not quite pushing up all the way into right forward position because he needs to drop back into a central midfielder position between Dembele and Tchouaméni. Argentina able to also reset into a 2-4 or 2-3 shape, with Fernandez being the centre defensive midfielder, flanked typically by De Paul staying a bit deeper and McAllister being positioned that bit higher. Whilst we're touching on the France press, I thought it'd be good here to also show their 4-1-4-1 press later in the game, where they've now subbed off Giroud and Dembele and they've got Mbappe leading the line. This against Argentina, still playing that 2-4 shape that we mentioned earlier. And just as we showed with the previous press, Griezmann doesn't quite push out all the way into a centre forward position, and unfortunately on this occasion, because Griezmann is drawn higher up the pitch but Tchouaméni is forced to stay deeper because of McAllister's positioning, it allows Fernandez to be able to pick up the ball in this dangerous central position. And then from there, Argentina did what they love to do this game and played it out into Di Maria, drive down the left-hand side and get into duels against Dembele or Koundé, at least initially, until Kolo Muani provided more cover for Koundé. Getting back to the 12th minute, where we had Argentina building up in that 2-4 shape, because France kind of sat off them, Argentina able to play that long ball for Alvarez, who was full of running, to try and get in on with his run from left to right and in behind. Argentina were happy to play short goal kicks and short passes out of the defence because they wanted to draw the forwards in the France press higher up the pitch and create space centrally for the centre midfielders, but especially Messi. Briefly, Tagliafico was really helpful for Argentina when they wanted to build up on this left-hand side, because when France set up in a 4-4-2 and they'd want to track Di Maria if he dropped, but Tagliafico would run and overlap him, forcing Dembele and Koundé to track him, allowing Di Maria to get easier possession of the ball in these midfield positions. So from that long ball into the right-hand side channel, Varane watches it all the way and combines with his goalkeeper to clear the ball back up the pitch for Mbappe. Of course, he was under a lot of pressure from Alvarez, but these kind of balls against a very aggressive Argentina back line were 50-50s or maybe 60-40s at best. And with the substitutions, France did manage to make these kind of balls much better for them, with their forwards narrowing, looking to work off flick-ons, looking to contest second balls. Saying that, I thought it'd be good to have a quick look at this 92nd minute scenario where we have, again, Lloris kicking the ball long, with Muani here, the one contesting it. All of these forwards were potential focal points for long goal kick or long balls in general. And with them all narrowing like this, they were able to then contest second balls, potentially attack flick-ons, and generally combine in the central space. See here Rabiot, who did this all game, looking to try and support here in this left-hand side, as Thuram from Muani's flick-on looks to try and drive into that left-hand space, being tracked by Romero. Of course, this was really important here by Romero, and I think it's key to stress how important this aggression was, because essentially here France have a 5v5 or a 5v4 if you don't count the midfielder who's on the ground. So getting back to the 12th minute, where we've had Lloris clear the ball to Mbappe and Argentina were able to win the header and regain possession. On regain, they immediately play it back inside, where Messi is looking to attack. He's on paper the right winger, but he's constantly playing more narrow. Of course, this puts a lot of pressure on the France midfield to stay narrow, to creating space out wide, mostly for Di Maria, but also for for Molina, the right back, because Argentina were basically not really playing with the right winger. But notice also here Alvarez's run, which is really cute, running from left to right, dragging Varane away and creating a 1v1 for Di Maria versus Koundé, eventually leading to Di Maria's cutback into Messi, which is defended. Unfortunately for France, because Griezmann was pulled deep by McAllister's run, as well as also Rabiot being out as a left winger and Tchouaméni being forced quite deep, Argentina are able to get easy possession on the edge of France's box. I think I should also mention at this point how Argentina sought to counter press on loss of possession too. On regaining possession, Argentina looked to try and combine, utilising Messi on the edge of the box and their left-hand side overload. Unfortunately, the play breaks down, but we can see some of that counter pressing going on from our forwards, defenders and midfielders. So France are awarded a free kick as Alvarez was adjudged to have handballed Hernandez's clearance, and France attempt another long ball. Here the accuracy is often onto Mendy's able to just header the ball away. But now we get to see France starting to move towards that 3-1 shape again, with Rabiot looking to try and push up and eventually get into that left-hand side half space. Griezmann looking to help overload this right-hand side half space and help free up Dembele. Mbappe tucking inside into a more central space to allow Hernandez to be able to push up higher on this left-hand side. All against Argentina's 4-3-3, which will eventually become a 4-4-2 or a 4-5-1. Initially a 4-3-3, but this would move to a 4-4-2 with Di Maria at left wing and Messi initially as right forward, but if France were able to maintain possession long enough, then he would drop to right wing position to make it a bit more difficult for France to be able to switch the play. So with this initial 4-3-3, Argentina are forced to narrow, creating space far side for Mbappe and Hernandez. And so eventually, with a bit of skill and a little bit of luck, Dembele is able to progress on this right hand side and then fire the ball out to Hernandez and Mbappe. And so we see, as mentioned earlier, our wide centre midfielders in McAllister and De Paul helping to defend the spaces between the fullbacks and centre backs for Argentina. Here especially, De Paul is trying to prevent Mbappe from doing what he loves to do, where he cuts inside and rips one into the top corners, or on this occasion sought to combine with Rabiot with a 1-2 on the edge of the box. No sooner have Argentina play the ball out of the back, short against a 4-4-2 slightly passive press from France, which has been sucked up the pitch. Argentina are able to play that long ball into Messi and Alvarez in behind the midfield in that space mentioned earlier, eventually leading to Di Maria being in possession again in a 1v1 against Koundé. So in this scenario, we're going to have a look at an Argentina counter-attack, typically with Argentina counter-attacking initially down the right-hand side and then eventually switching it over to the left-hand side due to France pushing up, initially Hernandez and then later Camavinga as more creative fullbacks, with Rabiot and then later Fofana covering for them. So here France have played the ball back into Lloris, but due to pressure from Alvarez, he's forced to kick the ball long, and we can see both fullbacks looking to stay relatively close to their forwards. Tagliafico is able to halt progress on this left-hand side, and Argentina start to constrict space, looking to regain possession. Argentina finally start to actually get control against Fofana and Muani here, but then France regain possession and Koundé looks to start a counter-attack by firing a ball into Mbappe, who's dropped from his centre-forward position. But as I mentioned, the Argentina defenders were just so aggressive, so front foot, and we see that here with Romero again to prevent Mbappe being able to build up a head of steam. But I think it's also useful here to look at how awkward France's midfield is in anticipation of losing the ball, where you have both your wide midfielders already very high up the pitch, but more importantly, you have no cover in this central space, what with Tchouaméni having been dragged out to this right hand side and Griezmann as a more forward thinking attacking player looking to try and obviously support the attack. With this space vacated, Romero intercepting this pass is then able to take advantage in combination with Messi here, and then from there Messi is able to pick out a sumptuous ball to Angel Di Maria in the left wing, and Argentina are able to create a shooting opportunity back post for De Paul. Another counter-attacking scenario for Argentina. Here we've got France in possession. Tchouaméni has pushed up in this occasion rather than Rabiot, here looking to try and combine with Mbappe in that left-hand side half space that he loves to attack. Romero is forced to come out and try and stay relatively close to him because Molina has already pushed out to try and nullify Hernandez. And as we mentioned earlier, as Argentina are pushed deeper, eventually you end up with Messi at a right wing position and Di Maria, or in this occasion, a Cunha as left winger to create a 4-5-1. Note also the positioning of Thuram and Moani. This was a really good avenue of attack for France, where they were able to release Mbappe on this left-hand side and he would whip in across for them to attack. On this occasion, Depaul is able to win back possession and looks to combine with Messi to start a counter-attack down this left-hand side past the covering Rabiot. Unfortunately for Argentina, Depaul just did not have the energy to outpace Hernandez. And then moving to extra time, France continued to build up in a relatively similar shape. Here initially starting in a 4-2, which will move to a 3-2 with Camavinga pushing high up as a more attacking, creative fullback, with Fofana covering for him, but also looking to try and be creative in that left-hand side. The France forwards holding their position on the back line, trying to stretch Argentina, making the work of the Argentina midfield more difficult by forcing them to defend a ton of space. So we can see that 3-2 starting to build up, with Fofana pushing out to this left-hand side to cover for Camavinga, trying to run up and support Thuram. Hernandez fouls Camavinga, and we see a continuation of the play with Alvarez at this point, of course, being tired, but also trying to stay relatively close to Tchouaméni, and the Argentine midfield not therefore being able to put any pressure on the back line. France's Upamecano is able to play a sumptuous ball through the lines for Mbappe on the shoulder of the last man. Unfortunately for Mbappe, firstly, he's offside, and then secondly, Romero was not having any of that and clatters him. With that, thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the content, please consider sharing it on social media, giving it a like, and maybe subscribing. If you enjoy our World Cup content, have a look at our World Cup playlist or our channel as a whole for both women and men's football tactical analysis. And with that, we're out.